Has a new speaker. This evening, the Conservative MP John Bercow has been elected to the post, beating 9 other contenders. The relatively unknown MP will replace Michael Martin, who was forced from office over the expenses scandal. As he accepted his new post, Mr Bercow acknowledged that large sections of the public felt angry over the expenses row. He said the Commons had to reform. Our political editor Nick Robinson has been following events at Westminster tonight. Nick.
Tonight, Sophie, the House of Commons rejected some big names and chose instead as their next speaker a virtual unknown, an MP promising to be radical, promising change, promising to be an ambassador for Parliament to the public. And yet, even as he did that, the Commons itself was divided about his victory, between those who welcomed it as a break with the past and those largely on the Tory side who were horrified.
John Bercow, 322. Yes! Sir George Young, 271.
It was certainly a close-run thing. Tonight, an experienced Tory grandee was beaten by another Tory, mistrusted and disliked on his own side. Just look at their crossed arms and glum faces. Traditionally, speakers are dragged reluctantly to the chair. There was, though, no holding John Bercow back. Indeed, there never has been, since he wooed his opponents with a pledge to be the clean break from the past.
Many members feel very sore and very vulnerable, but large sections of the public also feel angry and disappointed. We do have to reform, but I just want to say that I continue to believe that the vast majority of members of this House are upright, decent, honourable people who have come into politics not to feather their nests, but because they have heeded the call of public service.
So, who is the new Speaker? John Bercow's been Tory MP for Buckingham since 1997. Aged 46, unlike his old Tory Etonian rival, he was educated at a comprehensive school, and he's the son of a taxi driver, a background that appealed to many Labour MPs, although this might have been expected to turn them off.
Smaller public sector, an end to punitive taxation and the release of our industry from cumbersome political control, the results of failure in the form of the socialist nightmare hardly bear reflection.
In the 80s, the new Speaker was a young right-wing radical who even supported sending some immigrants home. But after marrying his wife Sally, John Bercow renounced his past. Many predicted that he'd even follow her in switching to back the Labour Party. One reason he's so disliked by the Tories.
A Speaker has a responsibility immediately and permanently to cast aside all of his or her previous political views. I said it, and
they laughed on all sides tonight, but there has been little laughter of late in the Commons. All know that another Speaker cannot afford to fail.
We have shown today also we can cross party divisions in our choice of Speaker, and I believe this country will also want us to work together in the same spirit as we set about reforming and changing our politics in this great House.
We share a collective responsibility for putting it right. Your success will enable all of us to succeed in that. And on that note, I wish you well.
Anne Widdecombe, one of the best-known names at Westminster, and the former Minister Margaret Beckett were amongst the 9 candidates beaten by John Bercow. In the last few minutes, Black Rod marched to the Commons to summon the Speaker-elect to serve at Her Majesty's pleasure. John Bercow will know, though, that his future depends not just on the monarch or members of Parliament, but on the views of the public.
So, Nick, how big is the challenge ahead for him then?
It's a huge challenge. The Speaker, incidentally, and he is now confirmed as Speaker, has just taken his chair in the House of Commons. Those who backed him, largely on the Labour benches, some from the other parties, though, as well, do believe that he is likely to be a reformer, he is likely to be a public ambassador. They hope that he represents a change from the past by the very fact that he is young and unknown. Many Tories tonight are deeply unhappy. The Tory leadership were desperate to stop John Bercow getting this job. Some of them have muttered about removing him at the next election. Even their public utterances, Alan Duncan, the shadow leader of the House, said, "We'll have to make this work." it doesn't exactly augur well. But Mr Bercow has the authority of that office, he has the title now. He needs to prove his critics wrong and to show that he can use that title to win back some of the trust that has been so discarded by the House of Commons and by members of Parliament in recent days and weeks.
Nick Robinson, thank you very much. The new boss of RBS, the bank which has had to cut thousands of jobs and is now 70% owned by the taxpayer,